After watching Hazbin Hotel and becoming obsessed with the music of the show, I decided to listen to some of the other stuff the cast had been in, which eventually led me to the Beetlejuice Musical starring Alex Brightman and Leslie Kritzer. I recently had the pleasure of seeing a performance of the US national tour of it, where I actually dressed up as Beetlejuice, which was really fun, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it real quickly in this video with everyone. So the story follows the same broad strokes as the movie, but whereas the movie is a relatively lighthearted horror comedy, the musical decides to amp up the emotional factor by focusing on Lydia's trouble coming to terms with her mother's death. This issue is further amplified when she and her father, who refuses to talk about her mother in any way, move into a new house haunted by its former residents, Adam and Barbara Maitland. These two are being used by the star of the show, Beetlejuice himself, who is trying to get them to scare a living person into saying his name 3 times, which will allow him to become visible and tangible to living people. Overall, this is a story about how beautiful and worthwhile life is, even with the hardships that it brings. Death, pain, and suffering are all part of the package, baby, but it's how you decide to cope with this fact and live your life with the support of those around you that matters. I think that's a really powerful and important message, and it's conveyed excellently through Lydia's inner turmoil, the Maitland's character arc throughout the story, the catchy and memorable musical numbers, and of course the hijinks of Beetlejuice himself. Whereas in the movie, Beetlejuice is much more of a straightforward villain, the musical decides to paint him in a more sympathetic light. While he's still a perverted bioexorcist who doesn't respect any boundaries and does evil things for the fun of it, we get to see why that is, and the events of the story do actually change him in some way. Now if that's for the better or for the worse, I'll leave that for you to find out. All this is done while still retaining the chaotic dark humor of the original, just with new jokes and punchlines. And the comedy lands flawlessly thanks to the cast, with special props to Justin Collette as Beetlejuice and Jesse Sharp as Lydia's father, who got the most laughs out of me when I saw the national tour. Jesse Sharp especially gave Sean Peterman from Seinfeld vibes in his performance, and I don't know if that was an intentional reference, but regardless, it was so damn funny, it worked so well. The entire cast did a phenomenal job though, nailing both the comedic and emotional beats of their characters, and the set design was really fun, making every scene as hectic and fun to watch as possible. Overall, the Beetlejuice Musical is a great adaptation of the movie, improving on literally every aspect from the movie to make a heartfelt but still funny as all hell story about grief and how it factors into our lives. The cast are all funny and talented, the story is whimsical but still emotionally impactful enough to make me tear up during the final song, and the stage design and effects really add to the experience. While I do recommend checking both out, if I had to choose one, I would go with the musical, but that's just because I appreciate the emotional story beats added into the narrative, whereas if you want a relatively lighthearted romp with great dark comedy and Tim Burton's visual flair, I say go with the movie, especially since Michael Keaton is fantastic as Beetlejuice, and I can't wait to see him return in the sequel, Beetlejuice later this year. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed hearing my brief thoughts on the Beetlejuice Musical. I implore you to listen to the soundtrack if you haven't already because it is amazing, and I hope you get the chance to see it in some form in the future. Thank you all for watching. Thank you as always to my editor at Box. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, which typically end up being about media I like or occasionally original content like short films, and I will see you all in the next video.